What is up, everybody? We are live on post-race conversations, frontstretch.com. I'm Kyle Benjamin. He's Trey Lyle, and we are thrilled to be here on behalf of our good friends at My Place Hotels, and they're proud to be the official hotel sponsor of Front Stretch with plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels. My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Racing fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. That's 10% off nationwide with code FRONTSTRETCH. This racing season, make sure to make My Place your place. And today, Martinsville was Denny Hamlin's place, and that grandfather clock behind you is going to go find a new place at his place.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was kind of an old school day here in Martinsville. You had some tire wear. You had, different strategies at one point, but it was tough to pass. But ultimately, I think as time has gone on with this short track package and the next gen car, the races have gotten better and better. It was way better than what we saw on Saturday, at least.
Saturday was definitely one of the races of all time.
It'll be a
And I
fun
think
conversation on happy hour. Let's just put it that way.
for sure, lots of things happened Saturday. Truck race was okay today, though. Denny Hamlin, vintage performance, I think, from Hamlin. First time he's won at Martinsville in a decade, which is weird to say, but he went out and crushed him. He ran away with it, which sometimes you get. Sometimes we've talked about it on this show multiple times this season. Sometimes you have a guy go out and just have a great day, and Hamlin went out and had a great day.
Yeah, once he got the track position in terms of the lead, it felt like a wrap. I mean, uh, Bell challenged him for a second, Wallace challenged him for a second, but it was a dominant day from good old Denny Hamlin, and he felt pretty good after it. I mean, 44 years old, gets the win. He has tied Rusty Wallace in the all-time wins column. Uh, it seemed that I think this is a bigger win for Chris Gale than it is Denny Hamlin, and his crew chief just kind of getting the one off the board, and saying like since he was the only difference from this team last year, and it was a big day I think for the 11 team more than it was for Denny Hamlin, if that makes sense.
And Denny, when he climbs out of the car, it's the 11 v the world. And I'd say right now it's JGR versus the rest of the Cup Garage. They've accounted for 75% of the wins this season.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, the top 8 in points. They're 4 Toyotas, 2 are 2311, two are the of course the Christopher Bell. I would say it's Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin, and then Chase Briscoe and Ty Gibbs kind of fall very, very far behind, especially Ty Gibbs. So I don't know if I would say Gibbs is the dominant team because 2311 is just as good as them. But I think in terms of wins, you're right here. But I would say it's hard to say. Like Gibbs has a wide spectrum right now if you look at the point standings and the finishes this season.
Bit of a rebound day for Ty Gibbs. He had some a bit of a tiff with Tyler Reddick. Those two sorted it out post race, but
I think they both agreed to that
15.
it was the three's fault because it appeared that watch the replay 3 to 45 to 54.
Well, you get that pinball action at Martinsville sometimes. Today, not controversy, but you have another day where Penske is in the mix early, and then everything kind of falls apart. Joey Logano was leading laps, and I was all making notes and prepared to say, hey, we had written Joey Logano off, but we said, hey, he goes to Martinsville, he's really good there, and then he gets curb checked by Chase Briscoe, and around he goes, and then to top it off, I've never, in all the entirety of my life that I've been around motorsports, I have never heard of a race team running out of batteries. And that's what put Austin Cindric in the garage. Team Penske.
Yeah, well, it's because the 21 also had to keep replacing its batteries. So, I guess a team is not prepared to replace 2 teams' batteries multiple times in a race. And that's the sense I got. I want to have one more thing about the Denny Hamlin thing. You brought up the 11 against the World Flag. He said in his post race, he's like, if I play anything, like he said, basketball, pickleball, golf, if you don't let him, I can't use the phrase here, but SHIT talk, then you take away his superpower. And so I think that's just Denny being Denny. So I liked it. I mean, it's fun. He's like the true character of the sport. So, but as for Penske, talking to Joe Logano post race, He's pissed at Ross Chastain.
Well, what else is
Yeah,
new?
you can check that on the front stretch feed right now. His post race comments, because essentially his top 10 got ruined by Ross Chastain after contact with Chase Briscoe, because it was the one in the 19 into the 22. And as for the 21 and the 2, yeah, just that alternator issues causes changes of batteries, and you're ill prepared to change multiple batteries on multiple cars throughout the day. So just some bad luck there. Continued bad luck for Austin Cindric. Blaney looked good today. In fact, he started last and seemed to have a really good car in the long run. Logano was able to recover to a decent finish. So I believe there's Blaney and Logano are still top 10 in points. I would have to look at it again. But otherwise, yeah, a frustrating day for Penske, an up and down day for Penske, which has been a theme of this season.
Yeah, they had, trouble with the 2-car. And Stat mentioned on television, we were on pace to have like the first Martinsville race in history with all starting cars running at the end. I don't know if Cindric was officially listed as a DNF, but he was in the garage when the checkered flag fell. So, we don't quite set that record. And Josh Berry, not a Penske car, Penske adjacent. Bad luck on pit road. 2 weeks in a row, takes him out of contention.
He also had the battery issues, so that's what put him back. Because he was leading laps. He looked good even on old tires, and then he had to go back down pit road because of the battery issue. And
they never addressed it for those of us watching at home. It was implied that the contact he had with the 23 is what led to the initial battery issue, but based on the body of work by Team Penske today and the battery issues they had team wide, I think there might have been a bigger electrical gremlin.
Yeah, it seemed like he had no alternator. That became the issue. So I don't know if it was the contact on pit road. I think it was a bigger issue from Penske because, if we really want to stack it up, you now have the 12 has had 2 blown engines and you throw in these alternator issues. This could be a bigger mechanical problem when it comes to Penske, which is something to keep an mind on.
Could be. It's hard to feel sorry for them, though. They're the defending Cup champions. They're the defending Indy 500 champions, and their sports car program is dominating the world. So,
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot of people, the comments are already blowing up about Joe Logano and his comments about Ross Chastain saying, sour milk or not calling the kettle black, whatever phrase you want to use.
Yeah, well, Joey's got legs to stand on as a 3-time Cup champion. Good day for some guys that we expected to have good days. Bubba Wallace continues to have a fantastic start to the season. Heading into Darlington, a place, statistically, historically, not his best track, but they've got some strong momentum. And then Ryan Preece, his changeover from Stewart Haas Racing, which is now Haas Factory Racing, he goes over to RFK and is their best driver, I think, this season.
Yeah, he might be. Keselowski struggled a lot. Butcher struggled a lot. And ultimately, you look at it, Butcher kind of was pissed off today because he got caught up in a bunch of stuff. But Preece, 7th place finish, got to talk to him post-race. And you could tell he was happy with what he wanted, like he did, but he definitely wants more. And I think if you are you're Chris Buescher or you're Ryan Preece, I mean, all the Stewart Haas guys, I feel like they've done better this year, obviously. But I think Ryan Preece is kind of lying under the radar with really good finishes. And RFK as a team, they continue to, they seem to get better by this time of the year. And so I feel like you have to feel pretty good if you're a 65.
And this is a track that certainly suits Ryan Preece's racing pedigree, kid who came through the modified ranks, so he's used to running on these types of tracks. But his 3rd straight top 10 finish, and that's the first time in his career he's done that. So obviously, grass much greener on the other side of the Ford camp. It also helps when you've got team owners who are present in the shop and not off doing other things. So mega credit to what Brad Keselowski's done.
Who are you talking about there?
Somebody who's, off doing other stuff, living his life, and good on. And they've got an F1 team. So you were there at the track along with a large front stretch contingent. We got, Phil Spain was there, Chase Folsom was there, Steven
Yeah, those
Stump
two
actually
were
there working with
fans.
you. They were there as
Yes,
fans, but
Steven's
all
actually
the
writing.
family.
Like Steven's doing important things. I just got
Steven's
to
doing
like
journalism.
I
There you
got to
go.
lollygag throughout the day.
But
I
from
pretended to
where
be
I was
smart.
sitting in my my comfy cozy office chair watching on the television behind me, the race looked good. I enjoyed it. There was side by side racing, there was passing, stuff happened. From there at the track, was it a good Martinsville race?
Yeah, I think it was. Denny described it as an old school Martinsville race, and I think that's the best way to put it. It felt like, and as I've gotten older, I've grown for more of a sense of an appreciation. If I was like 10-year-old Trey, I would probably not like this race. But 28-year-old, 27-year-old Trey enjoys this race because you understand it more. And you could
Mhm.
see, you could see the tire fall off. You could see, I would have loved one more long green flag run, but that just didn't happen with the cautions. We had the most cautions in since they moved to the 400 lapper. And I almost said miler. The race would still be going on if it was
Still be
that.
going on. Yeah, 800 laps at
Uh,
Martinsville would be
and
something.
I, as someone who's on the track right now, would be in a very dangerous position and probably be in jail. So good thing it's not.
Yeah,
But
that grandfather clock would be in jeopardy as well.
yes, but I think it was a good race. I think it was, as I mentioned at the top. I think with the short tracks, you looked at what they did at Phoenix, you looked at what's happened at Richmond, even Bristol. And the heat. It was hot this weekend. I think the short tracks using the softer tire and this package it's just slowly gotten better, and that makes me feel good.
Yeah, NASCAR certainly needed to do a bit of work over the last couple of years. A lot of drivers, today's winner, no exception, very vocal about the short track package and all the things
Yeah.
happening there. Um,
Sorry, someone was asking me about that.
oh, well, that's okay. I was gonna say, is it the guy who owns the grandfather clock? Then by all means, let's we'll defer to the Martinsville Master.
I forgot
Although
to mute
I think
myself.
that gets shipped home. I don't think he puts it in back in the in the Toyota Tundra. Yeah, the racing was good. I think it's a good indicator of the strides NASCAR has taken recently to improve the racing. They've taken feedback from the drivers. They've taken feedback from the teams. Still would like to see them make some changes related to horsepower. But baby steps. We've got better short track racing, and that's a good thing.
Kyle, I'm afraid I have some bad news.
What's that?
It probably won't happen, but I hope.
Yeah, I
You
know.
can always hope.
You can always hope. You can always hope.
Hey, if Formula One's going back to a V10, we can always hope.
We can always hope. I'm looking at the rundown. Nothing, we've had kind of a similar mix of top 10, top 15 drivers this season. Spire car inside the top 15 again. Chase Briscoe, Todd Gilliland up there where they kind of need to be.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe needed this type of day. So and I got to talk to Todd Gilliland post race, and he he uh he seemed really good about his finish. He's like, we kind of kept our nose clean. We survived the day, and he ultimately got himself in victory lane. It was cool to talk to Casey Mears, excuse me, if I could speak. Post race, even though obviously being in that garage 66 car, low expectations, but he mentioned how this was start 490 and he wants to get to start 500, and so I would say we'll expect to see uh, Casey Mears race a couple more times soon. That's something cool to pay attention to.
Yeah, 500 career starts is absolutely a milestone for a guy who's been in a lot of different forms of motorsport throughout his career. Tale of two separate Hendrick Motorsports days. You have Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott finishing 5th and 4th, respectively. And then William Byron and Alex Bowman were nowhere to be seen throughout this one. Bowman was up front early on in the race, finished one lap down in 28th. And William Byron was just a non-factor, finished on the lead lap, but came home 22nd.
Yeah, it felt weird. I think Chase Elliott was the only one that really showed speed. Larson was fine, but you always expect more out of Hendrick Motorsports. I think for William Byron, It's just like everything that could go wrong for him did today. He got trapped the lap down at one point, and you could tell he was frustrated. So I think if you're the 2014, you kind of burn, quote unquote, burn the tape from today. You move on. And yeah, it was weird to see. Hendrick Motorsports typically dominates this race, and they were nowhere close. Yeah, I think with Bowman, bad luck as well. And but ultimately, sometimes that happens.
Sometimes it does, and that's why you line them up and drop the green flag. Because if you did this all on paper, it'd be a whole different story. But you got to go out and compete.
Yeah, absolutely.
And next week, we head to a place that's everybody's favorite, the Lady in Black, Darlington, down there in South Carolina for Throwback Weekend. We've seen some good liveries unveiled this week.
Livery, you can't call that okay. So
I can. I absolutely can. There's
it's paint schemes in NASCAR.
I know. Tires.
But I get it. Like,
transporters.
as someone who grew up as the NASCAR fan and like sort of watched the open wheel stuff, once I saw livery, I was like, what is that word? I like it. So I'm okay with it. But I'm just saying, if I start calling things liveries here, I might not be able to get out. So I'm going to call
pull your hot dog pass for sure.
Yeah.
So we've seen some good throwback schemes come out. The 5 team knocks it out of the park again with another excellent Terry Labonte homage. Some of them don't make any sense at all. You can't tell. You got to read the press release to figure out what they're throwing it back to. Some are throwing it back 4 years. Some are throwing it back 5 years. Have we played out the throwback thing?
Maybe. I mean, I at this point, I'm okay with keep doing it, but you are slowly running out of cars, like to do. You only can do so much. Like, you can't do the Black 3, can't do the STP. Well, they're doing the STP 43 next week, but it's more to a homage to John Andretti, I believe. I mean, what the heck? It's a cool way to get sponsors engaged. It's a cool way to get new diecast. So I'm kind of all for it at this point.
It is kind of fun to see some of the classics from my youth come back. I'm dating myself a little bit here. But then some of them, you see it and you go, what, there's a Jimmy Spencer throwback to a car he didn't win any races in. It's a little bit of that classic Target scheme. The no bull, that kind of combo. But when you think about it, it was the throwbacks were fun when they had a mandated time period and you could only do cars from that range, which I think made it a little bit more of a challenge for the teams to figure out, like, what can we run and get our sponsors on board with from this time period? And now it's just a free-for-all. The 48 team next week, they're going back to a scheme that Jimmy Johnson ran 7 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of the only car you throw back to 48 to. So
no, the original 48 lows, the royal blue, the green, the silver, that's the one you go to. There are so many good Jimmy Johnson schemes from his heyday, and it's 7 years. I don't know. I think that for an organization that can do the Terry Labonte 1-to-1 Kellogg's car last year and this year, and that they've got that one, and then the other 3
I think that has a more contribute to the fact that the guy who sponsors the 5 car owns the team, so he kind of has freedom to do whatever he wants with the 5 car.
Yes, but the sponsor relationships they have, it's all B2B. It's a very high level relationship there.
I think Ally does a good job with them. So
they can. I'm on a soapbox, get off my lawn with some of those.
Well, the good news is you'll see them all at Darlington, and so you can complain next week as well.
I can, and I probably will. But it's cool. It's neat to see. It's a good way to keep the tradition alive. Let new fans know what the history of the sport was. And Darlington's I think that's going to be a cracking race next week. If the weather is warm, I think you're going to see a ton of tire wear. But we'll see. springtime in the South, it can go either way. It could be 85 next week, or it could be 45 and cloudy.
I lived in Virginia all my life. I understand that to agree. But yeah, I'm pumped for it. It's Darlington, and if it's anything like the race it was last year, I think we're in store for a good one.
Absolutely. We always are at Darlington. There's carnage. You're going to see some long green flag runs. It's going to come down to whoever at the end of the race manages their tires and where that last pit stop falls. So as we look ahead to Darlington next week, who you got? Who's your pick?
TBD. I gotta watch. No, I'm not. I need more information. The 20. Do I have to pick right now?
Yeah, that's
Denny Hamlin goes. Screw it. Denny Hamlin goes back to back.
Denny Hamlin goes back to back. Okay, we'll go with it. I think right. I think it's a driver's track. I think you could go Hamlin. The style of racing mimics Homestead there up against the wall, so that's like a Tyler Reddick, Chris Bell, Kyle Larson. Do we see one of the guys who's been knocking on the door recently get a breakthrough win there? Ryan Preece, Todd Gilliland. Carson Hocevar in his first ever start in a Cup car, I believe. Darlington? I'm going back to the
No, I will say
he's been in a Cup car at Darlington and he ran really well.
Yeah.
Oh, his first start was Gateway. And he had a brake rotor explode.
Oh, that was it. And he was, because remember, he was in the 7. And because, what's his name? LaJoy was in the 9 because Chase got suspended.
Yep.
So, now remember things. All right. I need to go home. So,
You do. You've got a bit of a drive ahead of you. See if you can grab a hot dog on your way out. They might be giving them away at this point, trying to get rid of that.
No, I think they shut down. I had 7 this weekend, so I feel good.
That's a lot of hot dogs.
Hey, I know people who had more.
That's true. A 7 seems a little light for the Martinsville dog. So
yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you for all the work you and Steven did this weekend to catch all our coverage on everything that happened in Martinsville trucks, whatever that was by the Xfinity kids yesterday, and then the Cup race today. Head to frontstretch.com. And of course, if you're traveling this race season, check out My Place Hotels. My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel sponsor of Front Stretch with the plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels. My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Race fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. That's 10% off nationwide with code FRONTSTRETCH. This racing season, be sure to make My Place your place. And we are proud to have My Place custom patch hats and others on board our coverage this season. Custom Patch makes good stuff. The shirt is outstanding. The hat's even better. Trey, it's been a pleasure as always. Safe travels getting back home. I'm sure we'll talk again after Darlington. Everybody else who tuned in, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Until next time, I'm Kyle. He's Trey. See you later.
Adios.
My Place Hotels is proud to be the official hotel partner of Front Stretch. With plush beds, in-room kitchens, and pet-friendly hotels, My Place makes for the perfect pit stop when traveling. Front Stretch fans can use promo code FRONTSTRETCH to save 10% on your stay at any of our nationwide properties. Sign up for our Stay Rewarded program to get even more savings. With My Place Hotels, don't just stay, stay rewarded.